The main task of the animals is to collect magnetism. While animals are healthy, people will be healthy as well, and as soon as animals start being sick, people will also be sick. Please continue watching for the teachings of Master Beinsa Douno, vegetarian.
This means your happiness is my happiness in Bulgarian. Charismatic viewers, I am Dimitar, the earth-cherishing people of Bulgaria. Thank you for your fellowship in bringing our world to peace and prosperity through the sustaining vegan diet. May you be eternally blessed by the heavens. Welcome to love all living creatures as yourself, from food, way of life in the law of nutrition by Master Beinsa Douno, vegetarian, part 1 of 2 on words of wisdom. The spiritual lineage of the Universal White Brotherhood was founded by Master Beinsa Douno, also known as Peter Konstantinov Dunov of Bulgaria, in 1897. Master Beinsa Douno taught that the qualities of humility, obedience, honesty, goodness, intelligence, and nobility are foremost in spiritual practice. He explained that one should walk the path of love, wisdom, and truth. The Universal White Brotherhood believes that God is in everything, in the stones, the plants, the water, the air, the animals, and the light. Following the principle of ahimsa, or non-violence, Master Beinsa Douno practiced and preached a vegetarian diet. The Master was also an accomplished musician and composer of many spiritual songs and compositions. Today, we will read a selection from Master Beinsa Douno's book, The Law of Nutrition, from the chapter Food, Way of Life. Here, the compassionate Master draws our attention to the upset of balance and harmony with nature due to humankind's unnatural and unkind treatment of animals, our friends and co-inhabitants.
Warning: you might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
Food, way of life. All the sicknesses attacking people are due to former or current crimes. Nothing remains unpunished. The germs now poisoning the human body are nothing but the poison of fear and hatred, which the cattle, chickens, lambs felt towards the man who killed and butchered them. Is that possible? It is possible. The same way an offensive word can poison and destroy a human body, the fear and hatred of animals which man butchers poison his body. The culture itself carries poisons in itself. The way people are doing, if they don't correct themselves, they will always carry with themselves their misery. How are miseries born? At first, miseries are born of the unnatural selection of food. In America, there are statistics showing that about 35-40 million pigs are killed every year. Millions of animals are killed in Europe as well, as nobody takes into consideration their feelings. The scripture says, whoever slaughters an ox is as if he is slaughtering a man. This shows that God is not content with the death of the animals. And here's what I'm asking. How would human culture be improved when a large number of mammals are being killed every year? These mammals, when being killed, they created the most unfavorable conditions for the human culture. And those religious people, Christians, they open the Bible every day and read that the Lord has created all that for people. Time created them. After that, plants came, which redeemed animals' lives. Animals, on their part, redeem people's lives, and then people say that it is allowed to eat the animals for the good of mankind. This is an internal permission. This is one of the most unnatural types of food. Man may dare to do a lot of unnatural things. Now, I want you all to have a desire for all those principles it takes to build a man. If you want to have an excellent mind, an excellent stomach, and excellent lungs, you must pick the necessary food. The main task of the animals is to collect magnetism. While animals are healthy, people will be healthy as well. And as soon as animals start being sick, people will also be sick. That is why we must be friendly to animals in order to be able to make use of the magnetic powers which they store in themselves. Due to the cutting down of forests and the killing of mammals, people are subjected to great sufferings without being able to help themselves. They don't even suspect that animals and plants are reservoirs of vital powers for the growth and development of man. By exterminating mammals, their vital powers are dispersed in space. As long as people are unable to connect directly to the powers of nature, they are deprived of those powers which they would receive from animals. The immense extermination of mammals creates abnormalities in nature. Most diseases are due to the killing of mammals and birds. As far as that extermination does not stop their evolution, all the powers which are to form their well-being remain unused, and thus chaos comes upon the world, which is the reason for the various diseases. Do you know what happens after the arbitrary spillage of this animal blood? Its vapors produce various serums and cultures for the harmful germs which produce all the evils in the organic world. In order to achieve balance in nature, it had to shed about 1 million kilos of blood to balance those animals' blood. But now, this war, World War II, leads to the shedding of about 2 million kilos of blood. In order to achieve a balance in nature, about 100 million kilos of blood are to be shed to balance animals' blood. And this is what wars do. The way water is needed to wash the clothes, to water the flowers, the same way if we sometimes commit minor crimes, blood will be needed for cleaning. As long as crimes are big, millions of people will have to die in order to cleanse the soaked earth of the crimes so that we can live. You will shed a lot of blood before you are cleansed. Your happiness in the world lies on the sufferings of those tiny creatures which serve you. You, who consider yourselves very noble, go and ask the small creatures what do they think of your nobility. All the sheep, oxen, lambs, chickens, ducks, all those birds have an attitude towards you. All of them have a special opinion of men. All the smaller creatures shout in one voice that man is an extremely cruel being. If we ask the trees, they will also say as well, man is horrible, merciless, and then you would ask, why has the Lord created the world this way? No, the Lord created the world to be good, but we and all those people before us have spoiled it. The way the external world is spoiled, it affects our inner selves. The world is made in such a way that when the master suffers, the servants suffer as well, and vice versa. The same goods God has provided man with, these have also been provided to the trees and flowers and little flies and fish and birds and all of the mammals. Man is in harmony with nature as well as with the divine world, while it makes use of the surplus of goods. If he wants to use all the goods, he disturbs that harmony. Nature preserves a part of the goods for itself, something like an emergency stop. Whoever dares to lay his hands on that stop, he breaches the great rules of life. There is a human habit which people themselves have introduced in their lives and which they must eliminate themselves. In order to escape these rules, people have to eliminate the human rules and impose God's, the divine nature of man. Every person can find the divine understanding in himself, nowhere else. No matter how hungry a person may be, he will never cut a piece of meat from his leg or from another place. One would never let himself eat from his own meat. If he cuts off a portion of his own meat and tries to eat it, he will feel utmost repulsion. If you feel such a repulsion when it comes to you, why don't you feel the same about others? Why a hungry person, when there is nobody around, can starve to death without being tempted to eat from his own body? Why he can starve to death also when there are other people around? In both cases, a person should not touch the meat of his neighbor, of himself, or of an animal. This is God's understanding. If we apply that in life, there will be no death. Let us now continue to read a selection from Master Beinsa Douno's book, The Law of Nutrition, from the chapter Food, Way of Life. In the following excerpt, the Master elaborates on humanity's current unnatural way of life, particularly regarding its nutritional habits, while sharing his wisdom about it.
Warning: you might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
Food, way of life. Now we have abandoned that true life and take away a life which is not God's will. We take an animal without it being willing and take away its life. We don't ask it for its consent. It wants to live, but we eat it. This is not a way to live. The great misfortunes, the great sicknesses, neurasthenia, or the physical and mental fatigue accompanied by depression, the consumption which come to this world, are partly due to the extermination of mammals and the cutting down of forests. All the sicknesses are due to the unnatural situation which we allow in the world. We allow ourselves what we should not allow because we don't have a sacred feeling. We allow ourselves to cut a tree, a plant, just like that, out of mere fancy. There are plants that have lived for 100, 150, 200 years, and in America there are plants which have lived 1,500 to 2,000 years, and Americans cut them down. But because of this arbitrary clearing of forests, of the arbitrary extermination of mammals, there is no other country in the world with so much neurasthenia and so many nervous diseases as America. You may say that this is a mere coincidence. The law is the same everywhere. We cannot do whatever we want. We must do what conforms to the laws of the living nature. The true man eats through his mind. Man is situated amidst two systems, the mental and sympathetic nervous system. And after he departs from this world, these two systems continue to function in the other world. You may say, after death, the body melts away, it rots and disappears. No, there is something which does not disappear from the body, even after man's death. On the contrary, after one dies, that is precisely when he feels even more that he is connected to thousands and millions more creatures. So, no matter what people you used to be connected with before your death, you will feel this connection the strongest. If you were connected to people of the stomach, for example, that connection you will feel most. If you used to be connected with people of the lungs, the strongest connection you will feel will be that with them. Therefore, don't think that when you go to the other world, you will be free. If on the earth you used to be connected to people living only for their stomachs, in the other world you will be connected with their desires, which will constantly bother you. When somebody dies, if he used to love indulging himself in eating, when the physical body disappears, the capability of eating and drinking disappears as well. However, the desire persists, and that is why that person continues to go about those people who eat and drink. He urges them, but remains hungry, for he has no physical organs. You will find people who are like you. The kind of person one is, it is that kind of people he will find. Whoever likes to gossip, he will find people like him, gossipers. Whoever loves money, he will find others who love money as well. Whoever likes to drink, he will find drinkers like him. All day they will walk about in the world, and when they find somebody drinking, they will say, "Leave something for me." The one who likes smoking tobacco will find those who like smoking too. The ladies who like to put makeup on their faces will find others alike. Do you know how funny souls are? A soul thinks that it has hair, it has a face, that it sits in front of the mirror, putting makeup on it. There is no makeup. Then it puts on a dress and other clothing, but there is none. Things are much different there. It takes years until a soul acknowledges that it is just a dream. It's just like when you are dreaming that someone is chasing you, or when you are dreaming that you are rich. There is a whole lot of them around, a gluttonous person. They see you, stay by your side, and start giving you advice. But they only love the smell. When you are cooking, when they smell it, they feel great pleasure. When do you rejoice today? When you roast a pig, a chicken, a turkey, when you pour yourself some wine, then you sit at the tables, start rattling the forks, clinking glasses, drinking for health, for well-being throughout the world. However, these chickens and lambs are not pleased with your joy. They don't share it. Your joy is their sorrow. One day, the relations will change. Your fats will nourish the grass, which the sheep will peacefully graze. This will be the retribution for their meat, which you used for years. This the great karmic law. Christ says, when we so understand life, all the miseries will disappear and light will be bright. You don't know why sheep graze the grass. This is a temporary method, for in the future, food will be consumed through the entire body, through its pores, without chewing. You may ask, what should we do? You must always keep open, light and clear the eye God has put into your souls, so that you can bathe in His light and warmth. Often people laugh at the Egyptians who worshipped Abyss, sacred bull or deity. It is this Abyss who mellowed the temper of the Egyptians, who were very realistic people. You may say that this is a delusion. No, they believed that the deity lived in Abyss, and they worshipped that deity. Egyptians spiritualized animals and said that there was something divine in them. They believed that a deity is embodied in every animal, and thus they respected and worshipped all the animals. This is how they viewed Abyss, as a holy animal. Nobody could kill an animal there. They were greatly honored. In Isaiah chapter 66, it is said that when somebody killed an ox, it was the same as killing a man. The prophet Isaiah, who lived more than 3,000 years ago, he had higher morals than people nowadays. After all that, people say, Christ resurrected. Christ resurrected, but not for your oxen, sheep, chickens. Until Christ is resurrected for all the living creatures, for your oxen, sheep, and lambs, you won't be allowed into the kingdom of the Lord. I use the words ox, chicken, sheep figuratively. 2,000 years ago, Christ said, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is something missing in this line. It is not whole. That is why I add, you shall love all living creatures, from the smallest to the biggest, as yourself. Kind-hearted viewers, we appreciate your presence for today's Words of Wisdom. Coming up next is Joss Stone, vegetarian, voice of hope and compassion, right after noteworthy news. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for more uplifting programming. May we all allow ourselves to open our hearts more and more each day and experience the love and blessings that the world of peaceful oneness with all beings offers.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
I nostri programmi sono offerti in molte lingue. Consultate suprememastertv.com/schedule e suprememastertv.com/WOW